Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Salmon7, and I haven't been done videos for a real long time mostly because my sister is in quarantine because she went to another country hiking in the mountains or something like that, and she came back from that country. I don't know, maybe today she will be fine, we don't know. But if you hear any background noise or anything like that, that's because my sister's watching TV, probably watching another episode of Gossip Girl or something like that. And yeah, but this is another Marvel video I'm talking about, and this is one that's kind of getting in my. This is kind of a thing that Marvel has been doing for quite a while, and it's kind of getting on my nerves. And this is about topic about the MCU film. So before I start talking about this, I want to let you guys know I've been ranting about MCU for quite a while, and I'm gonna say this again as many times as I can. For those who enjoy MCU films, that's fine. That's totally fine for all of you. But just because I don't enjoy all of the films of the MCU films, or don't see MCU films on the same positive light that many other people see it, like Clownfish TV, for example, or The Crimson Sin, then you have to respect my own opinion, because for me, MCU films are kind of like a mixed bag for me. Now, of course, with the MCU films, I still enjoy them. For example, I still own a Blu-ray for Captain America: The Winter Soldier because I love that film, because it told a very well written story about Captain America in his past, and also him dealing with the present day, living in a world with the present day. And also creates a sense of mystery, and also when you watch the movie, it doesn't always be about, oh, there's the Avengers or something like that, or there's the freaking another Infinity plot saga. Even though in the after credit sequence they'll show the Loki scepter or whatever, but whatever. And I enjoy the first Iron Man film. I like the Incredible Hulk. I freaking enjoy the Infinity War. The first Guardians of the Galaxy movie was okay-ish, but whatever. And this is gonna be a little bit of a doozy, because this is a topic that about the MCU, but not really. And this is I'm gonna take a few drinks as usual, because, like I said, I haven't talked to anyone for a real long time, because for me, social interactions are barely existent, and me being different and all that kind of stuff. But this is a problem I have with Marvel for a while, and that happened ever since Disney acquired the TV rights on most of the property of Marvel. Now, at one point, I was thinking, one of my, I don't know, close buddies of mine, I don't know, he hasn't made videos for a while, I don't know, I really hope nothing bad has happened to him. He still is doing fine, and life is going great with him. I called Red Wolf 316 or 316. I don't know, but he did a really interesting topic about what would happen if Marvel and Star Wars wasn't bought by Disney. And I was thinking the same thing, and I thought maybe Marvel and this Star Wars will be on a better light if Disney didn't acquire these franchises. And maybe not, I don't know. But ever since Disney bought Marvel, things haven't been going on the right path. Now, of course, in 2012, I think in 2012, I believe that Marvel aired Disney or Marvel aired a really good show on Disney XD called Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which is more comic book accurate, but at the same time, the problem was it was more like, originally it was planned to be like advertising for the movies, but but the problem was the show told its own story, didn't use the character models from the movies, and more focused more on the freaking more on the comic book side of the characters, the villains, and everything. And it was a really good show. Honestly, I would honestly compare Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes on the same level as Justice League animated series and Justice League Unlimited, because those shows are basically the same thing. Because Justice League Unlimited is the continuation of Justice League the animated series. But after 2013, the show got cancelled after second season, and most of the plot points weren't even resolved. Like, for example, the Surtur plot wasn't really resolved. There were even concept arts for the third season where some of the Avengers changed into Fantastic Fours, or there's the plot with Morbius, the vampire, and many other plot points that weren't even resolved. There was even a Planet Hulk story, but I don't know how that will turn out. But unfortunately, the show was canceled because Disney, Disney and MCU, and that's all that matters. Because of the success of the first Avengers film, Disney decided to cancel, pulled the plug on Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and then decided to make a new Avengers cartoon or a reboot of Earth's Mightiest Heroes or whatever, and it called The Avengers Assemble. And that is when the whole shebang kind of started with the MCU, basically. And with Avengers Assemble, most likely, they make a show with very bad writing, really poor animation, even very bad animation, and but of course it has the MCU, the Avengers, the MCU character design, so big monies and whatever. And the show, unlike Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes that ran for only 2 seasons and got unfairly cancelled, this show has ran for 5 seasons. You heard me correctly. Avengers Assemble has ran for 5 seasons. I have no words for that. And, because greed and whatever, also the whole Marvel MCU thing, skins or whatever, putting in, even continuing on in other Marvel properties, video games especially. Like, for example, the Ultimate Alliance 3 game is basically like, let's plaster in the freaking MCU stuff and money, because that's all we care about. And then we have also Spider-Man PS4. Now, of course, I'm not dissing Spider-Man PS4. It is its own story, its own interesting story, its own character. It's basically more experienced Spider-Man, no origin story, whatever. And I haven't played the game, but I have watched playthroughs of it, of the Rad Brad. Watched the entire series, and I really enjoyed Spider-Man PS4 because it's more about experienced Spider-Man and him helping the little guy, still fighting off his major adversaries, his villains like the Shocker, Negative Man, or Rhino, Electro, Scorpion, Vulture. Even Dr. Octopus makes a very good appearance. Norman Osborn, who's gonna be a Green Goblin in the sequel. Maybe not, because the whole Miles Morales game is coming out for the PS5. And of course, we have an older Peter Parker that is more comic accurate and whatever. But then they're putting in the whole MCU stuff in the game as well. Like, for example, the Avengers Tower, exactly like the MCU one. It's not even a subtle Easter egg. Like, for example, you can find the Baxter Building in a web of shadows. When you find these 100 tokens, you can see subtle references like the Civil War on the newspapers, or on the walls or something like that. AIM, Iron Man, being on the posters or whatever, and even on Ultimate Spider-Man, you don't know. There's even the Stark Tower in Ultimate Spider-Man, but you can actually find it without having the story being with the symbiotes or whatever invading New York. You can still actually find the Stark Tower if you explore the entire town and Web of Shadows. Honestly, Web of Shadows is basically like the closest thing I could play as a subtle, replacement for Spider-Man PS4 because I don't own. Sorry, bug in my face. Basically, Spider-Man, I don't own a PS4, so that's why I can't play Spider-Man PS4, and also I don't even have a space in my room to even put the console in. And also, I also already bought a new console called Nintendo Switch, so I am not gonna go out of my way buying a new console like a PS5 or whatever, because I'm not that desperate for newer consoles, because with the whole 40 gigabyte updates and whatnot, with the whole newer generation of consoles and whatnot. And another thing is that with where was I going with this? Oh yeah, with Spider-Man games. In other Spider-Man games, like even an Ultimate Spider-Man game, which is one of my favorite Spider-Man games to play on the PS2. I still own the game on PS2 and I still play it sometimes because it's really fun. It is like a very comic accurate. Like it feels like a living comic book come to life, and you don't see games like that anymore unless if you play games like Sly Cooper or whatever, but. You know what I mean. And Spider-Man PS4 is not even solid with its references. Like, even in the costumes, you get bombarded with the whole MCU freaking costumes, all three of them, of, Tom Holland costumes. Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Infinity War, Spider-Man... the other Homecoming costume, the one Spider-Man wore previously, the Civil War suit or something like that, his homemade one. But of course, MCU, yada yada, this is the new best thing. And that is the biggest problem with Marvel, is that the fact that in all their properties that is coming out, other properties, animation, comics, or video games, or whatever, they want to plaster in the MCU stuff so much that they think like, yep, this is the best thing ever, and that's all that matters. Hell, even when the PS5 remaster is coming out, they want to put in the whole Tom Holland face, basically, not the PS4 face. And because MCU give us the fucking money of us, because MCU is all that matters, because MCU, Tom Holland, give us the money. And I'm really getting tired of this. The reason why games like Spider-Man Web of Shadows are like Ultimate Spider-Man, and even other big Marvel games like Ultimate Alliance games. I haven't played a lot of Marvel games, because when it comes to Marvel games, it's kind of hard to find very good ones, because I played like Wolverine Origins X-Men, which is a very good movie-based game. Basically, it's more R-rated, more bloody. Basically, how Wolverine should feel as a character, because he's not exactly the most friendliest of characters. I will tell you that much. But I still love the character because he's very tragic, despite him being angry all the time. He's a very tragic character, and he goes through so much depression and anxiety. He just wants to live a very normal life where people don't get hurt by people that try to hunt him down and kill him, like Sabretooth, for example. And you can feel Wolverine's character. I also am getting off topic here, but my biggest problem with Marvel properties nowadays, especially the fact that Marvel, ever since Disney acquired Marvel, it's basically been like MCU. With Star Wars is always the same thing with video games. Let's shove in the freaking new movies, the sequel, the horrible sequel trilogies, because that's all that matters. Money, and that's one of my biggest problems, is the fact that the MCU is like plastered everywhere. It's the only thing MCU nowadays is just a marketing tool. It's nothing else. I'm probably pissing off a lot of MCU fans or whatever, but remember, this is my own opinion, not yours. But why Avengers Assemble, now the new Marvel Spider-Man cartoon, Spider-Man PS4, Ultimate Alliance 3. Everything is just MCU skins plastered now. Even the new Avengers game, we can't have an Avengers game without seeing the Avengers movie logo and also the whole freaking, MCU skins, whatever, making like, I don't know, the character of, Bruce Banner looking like Mark Ruffalo, because, Mark Ruffalo, MCU, give us money and stuff like that. Because I'm really getting tired of this, where people just want to use MCU as a marketing ploy. Like, you can use, Marvel has been, like, think about this, think about with logic like this. Without these movies would not exist without Stan Lee and Steve Ditko or any other people who worked on the original comic books. Without these comic books, you will not have your precious MCU films or whatever. You will not have, we won't get Iron Man as popular as he is now with Robert Downey Jr. or, Captain America, whatever, or, Nick Fury as Michael Jack, or Nick Fury as, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I'm very forgettable with names, but still, probably, what was the actor's name? Oh my god, I should know the actor's name who plays Nick Fury. Samuel L. Jackson, yeah. And the problem is the fact that you can't have a video game or a fucking cartoon show or a TV series without having, the MCU skins or whatever story, or, without having MCU shoved in your face all the time. Because the reason why Spider-Man PS4 worked, because it was trying to be its own thing. Sure, you can have the Avengers Tower or the Avengers, Spider-Man costumes or whatnot, but it still was trying to be its own thing, its own story. We don't need to have Avengers shoved in your face all the time, or having Tom Holland, but now with the PS5 remaster of Spider-Man PS4, now we have Tom Holland face, because, MCU. The reason why it worked is because it's trying to be its own thing. It was a game that was made for fans of the webhead, for movie fans, for the TV show fans, for fans of the comic books. It was for fans that loved Spider-Man for a really long time. That was the game that was made for that. Even it respected the other Spider-Man game that was basically a movie license game, but it was really done well, and it was Spider-Man 2. I still have Spider-Man 2 on my PS2. I just recently got it, and I sometimes enjoy it. I sometimes enjoy, web singing all the time and whatnot, and you can still choose a playstyle for web singing. You can use an easy mode for web singing, or you can use more advanced stuff with web singing. But my problem is the fact that too many properties are just becoming MCU reskins, and of course I'm not saying, oh my god, I'm really complaining about this and I'm sending death threats to the creators and whatnot. It's not their fault. It's the fault of the people who are behind all of this, like most who are publishing this, Sony, Disney, whatever. And it's kind of crazy, because I don't want to play a game that I want to see, because when it comes to Marvel games, I usually just buy older games, because I don't want to be, I don't want to see MCU plastered everywhere. Like, some of the MCU films are fine, but I'm not saying all the MCU films are good. Some of them are fine, some of them are average at best, but still the MCU has flaws. But you can't just plaster MCU stuff in every single other Marvel property just because you want to market that thing. You only have billions of dollars shoving in the movies on people's throats, so why do you want to cater the freaking MCU craze in other Marvel properties. Like Ultimate Alliance 3 is not as good as Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 because, it doesn't feel like an Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 because it doesn't follow the story of the previous games because, MCU. That's why. Because we need MCU. Like, I don't know how to feel about this because I'm really getting tired of this. I hope you can change the face of Marvel Spider-Man on the PS5 remaster of Spider-Man PS4 because I have no disrespect towards Insomnia Games. I love Insomnia Games ever since I fell in love with the company ever since I played Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal and Spiral 3 on my friend's PS1, and even I got the Resistance Fall of Man, and despite how difficult that game is, I still have fun playing it. All the weapon choices, all the weapon designs, all the creative, creepy Chimera designs are really cool. I have no disrespect towards Insomniac. Sometimes they have their ups and downs, but of course they still try their best to make a good game, especially when they created Spider-Man PS4 because it was like a passion project for them, and it was very, very successful. But I don't know. I mean, with the whole MCU thing, like I said, if you enjoy these films or whatever, that's fine. But I just I don't know, because every time Sony or Marvel or Disney want to plaster the MCU brand or the success of the MCU and other Marvel properties, and then because they want to put skins in them and just be like, yeah, let's just wing it and don't even bother with the actual storytelling or actual, character development or whatever, because, it's just for kids or whatnot, and it, things are really going haywire with this kind of stuff. But, that's just how I feel about this because like I said, I'm not super against the MCU films. Like I said, stated previously, I enjoyed some of the films. I still own Captain America: The Winter Soldier on Blu-ray. I was thinking to buy Iron Man 1 on DVD because it was cheaper, but Amazon is being a bitch to me right now because some things you can buy from UK and stuff like that because UK is trying. I think UK is not associated with Europe anymore, and it's kind of more difficult for me to buy games without waiting for 5 months or something like that, or TV shows and whatnot. And but still, it's kind of crazy that the world is the way it is, and I don't know how to feel about that. But still, I don't know, what do you guys think about this with the whole Tom Holland face swap or the whole MCU being plastered in every other Marvel property besides the films? And I don't know, we'd like to see if you agree with me, share this with others to, emphasize my point or whatnot. And yeah, this is Salmon17 signing off.
Oh, this hurts already.